your phone here.
Yep.
It's my phone. Oh, it's
I'll just get this all set up so I can just do the story and whatever. All right, so you're pumping it through now, yep?
Yep.
Cool. And Twitter.
okay. YouTube.
Sweet. Camera at 1.8.
Yeah.
Yeah, you logged in?
No, I'm just looking at the one that was posted before.
How?
Yep. Oh my god, I hope we didn't say anything bad.
I'll come in and delete it. I don't think we did.
It's just us messing around.
Yeah. But no one saw it anyway, so we know. We all good.
Even this one is this one live? Yeah, this one's live.
It's live right now?
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
that's the link I've used.
oh shit, okay.
So we're getting ready. What was going on? Oh, maybe because I'm going live instead of scheduling the stream like I usually do. But it should give you a preview.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It just throws you into the deep end. Oh, well. Yeah.
You need to make it lower. No. This one lower. Because it was like here. Yep. And then keep making it. Yeah, rotate it towards me. Bit more.
Down?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. And then just rotate it this way. Yep. You are much higher in the frame. Did your camera change?
I haven't touched it.
Okay, so that's okay. So this needs to be. Do you do IG?
Yeah. Oh, and I didn't fucking tag Mac. Now think later. Oh, idiot. Okay, so this is the only one. Look at this, our first one. Technically our second one on Make Now Think Later.
Okay. I can try and do it. Do we have any viewers? Okay.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I've got a feeling something's wrong with it, maybe, because we don't have any viewers yet. But it's live.
I think it's normal. Just
Yeah.
a new channel.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that shows as you get subs, they actually get notified that someone's
Yeah.
live, and that's what could get them in versus
Yeah.
just my stories.
Yeah. That's a good point.
There you go.
New
There's a little
insights.
insight.
All right, let's try and get this going. Make nothing later. Post. Add a link. So,
All right, so I'm going to clip all this beginning part when we upload it, or because I think you can do that before it goes.
nice. We will definitely need that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I need to tag. Okay. Okay. Post the stories.
And this is a real behind the scenes of
Very
content
behind the scenes.
creation.
Okay. Now I
Almost
need
wouldn't
to-
mind if no one popped in.
Yeah.
Because so it's just you and me having a chat.
Okay. So put that one there. Should I begin?
We shall.
Yeah.
Yep. So you're recording? Audio?
Recording what? I hope so.
Oh, because we did it in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, beforehand. Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
No one can see me being comfy here. No, good.
Okay. This timer here.
We've had 1 views, and I think that was me. Good idea.
Can you see that?
Yep. Do we want to clap?
I guess so.
Does that help?
Well, might as well. I don't know what
Let's
it's going to
just
help.
round of applause. Congratulations, Francis, on episode 13. Yeah.
All right, then we got to clap at the end.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So talk to me, my man. What's been going on?
Well, what's been going on with you? I heard you've done a YouTube script.
I've done more than a YouTube script.
You've done more than a YouTube
Yeah.
script. Okay.
Yeah, I've been so I've come to the realization, well, not the realization, but I'm finally pulling the trigger on YouTube land.
Mm.
I've been doing live streams to get me into the rhythm. I've done 9 or 10 of them now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good number to sort of get me used to being in front of the camera, talking to people, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to continue to do those, but now I'm going to do a proper YouTube video. I'm in the process of sort of figuring that out. But I think just like when I started with Instagram, all of these feelings are coming back because it's a new platform, a new format.
Yeah.
Potentially like new audience. And it's just like the anxiety and imposter syndrome is through the roof because I'm like, this is like, who's going to listen to me? There's way better YouTubers on here, blah, blah, blah. But I'm fortunate enough to know that, okay, cool, I've felt all this before. Shut the fuck up and just do the work.
So you're starting something new, but it feels like you're starting from scratch, at least emotionally.
Yeah, I get all those feelings. And it's like a real, that resistance, that Stephen Pressfield, the war of art, that resistance is strong. And I'm like, I think that's a good thing. It's a good indication because it's like, yeah, it's probably what I'm meant to be doing. All right, so go towards that.
So you follow the resistance.
Follow the resistance. That's it. Because what's easy is to not do it.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I've gone, how we talked about premature optimization. I've gone deep into.
How deep are we talking?
Not so much premature optimization, but maybe over analyzing the YouTube landscape, let's say. Like I've just gone in research mode basically.
Yeah.
So I've looked up like so many podcasts, written like copious notes on like story frameworks. So you got like the 3-act story, you got the hero's journey, you got all that sort of stuff. It's fascinating. It's really good to do, I think, just so I've got an idea. But then I've gone into like thumbnail analysis, title analysis. I made like a tiny little app, so it gets all of the YouTube channels that I look up to, gets their top 20 most viewed videos, and it shows me the thumbnails, titles, when it was uploaded. I'm trying to find some correlations between there, particularly in the art space. Like I'm basically like my reasoning behind this is if I'm going to spend all this time making this content, I want to give myself the best chance that people are going to see the bloody thing. And one of probably the 80-20 of all this research that I've done, that I've found out, is to do the thumbnail and title first. The thumbnail and title first.
What do you mean by first? You mean before you do the video?
Before I do the video. So nail down, get all the ideas out, nail it down to like ideas that are both interesting to me and to a potential audience, but more so to me, because then I'm going to be able to create, again, it comes back to value, right? How much value can I put into this thing and condense it into a 5 to 10 minute video? Get the thumbnail going. That does one of two things. And I've heard a couple of, so Mr. Beast says to do this, and Mark Rober.
To do it first.
To do it first. They do all that first. I was listening to the Lex Friedman podcast with Mr. Beast on it. And he was saying, like, they was in a meeting and they were just throwing out ideas. And one of their biggest questions were like, well, what's the thumbnail going to be? Like, great idea, but like, I don't even know what the thumbnail could be with that. So it almost doesn't matter. It's almost the barrier to entry to doing, because these guys have millions of dollars on the line. When they create a video, they got to make that hook with the title and the thumbnail, which is an absolute banger because they're putting a shit ton of money into it.
That's interesting because to me, that feels like the opposite.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does, but I've heard like Mark Rober, like that guy that does all the engineering, science, the guy that used to work for NASA. Yeah, he does that as well. And I mean, I'm like, okay, interesting. And I'm starting to hear it more and more. The idea is everything, basically, to begin with. And you can almost have that like akin to product. You can start building and finding the audience and the idea and like the use for it as you get. And that could be successful. It's almost better to sort of have an idea of what that problem is that you're trying to solve up front and then make the thing. So it's like, so maybe that's a broken analogy, but it's sort of, that's what it feels like. It's doing the upfront work of, okay, this is something that I wanted, because there's low hanging fruit that I could do. I could just do like how to draw an eye. Everyone's fucking done that, you know? What about a little bit inside baseball? My first video is going to be why I don't use the Loomis method. The Loomis method is like the number one way to start drawing ahead. And if you've just started to go a little bit beyond the basics of drawing.
What is it? What is the method? How do you...
how do I explain it? It's like you start off with a sphere and you cut off the sides of the head, right, to then make it more like skull shaped, and then you do all these like measurements and bits and pieces. And I want to go the opposite route to all these people saying how to use the Loomis method. I want to go like I don't use the Loomis method, which I don't. Right, but then I go into deep as to why. It's not disparaging the Loomis method whatsoever. I even say that this is a fantastic thing, and then I give them even more. I give them 4 more methods that I've researched, and then I know on how to use.
So how does, I guess, how in my head I'm trying to figure out how you would generate, you know, from an idea to a YouTube video. So from what you're describing, it sounds like you have, like, there are people that go, is it thumbnail first even before the concept? Or is it like you have a concept and then you try to think, is there a possible thumbnail that's going to work? And then you use that as kind of like a gate as to whether to keep going.
I think it's concept first, and then thumbnail and title go together. So that's like second. So concept, what if I did a video about drawing the head? That was my first thought with this. Drawing the head, because I looked at a bunch of art related YouTube videos, and then that was a consistent thing. The Loomis method, head drawing, how to draw a head, millions and millions of views. I'm like, okay, cool. It might work, it might not, but at least there's some data there saying that people are wanting to know this. Like, okay. Then it was like, all right, how am I going to make this different or more engaging to my story, like to my story essentially? How do I draw the head, and how is it different to how other people might draw the head, and how is there a hook in there that makes it stand out from the rest? Right? And it's not like how to draw a head using the Loomis method. It's like I'm going to do it like I don't use the Loomis method when drawing the head, and then like the thumbnail I'm going to be like it was a lie, and me just like looking at the Loomis method sort of. So like I'm trying to get clickbaity, but in a way that makes sense, and it's not clickbaity. It's like there's like white hat clickbaity and black hat clickbaity. I found there's ones where it's like it makes sense the clickbait after like to get the people in. And then there's just like the ones that I hate, particularly in art, where they show you awesome artwork on the thumbnail. Then you're like, where the fuck is this in the video? I skipped to the end. I don't see this.
That's what the thumbnail is for, right? It's supposed to give you a preview of what the video is, condense it into one image.
That's it. But it's and what Mr. Beast says is you've got to sort of make good on your promise of the title and the thumbnail within the first 30 seconds or even sooner, or else people are out. Because you got to think like, okay, this is why they clicked on the video, because they're interested in that. You give them a reason and then exceed that. Right. And that's what I've been trying to do with the script. And then and the cool thing, like, I mean, because this is so fresh in my head, I stop me if I'm just rambling.
No, this is good stuff.
But what I've been using ChatGPT for is not just because I've mentioned this before, get the transcripts of the YouTube videos and summarize them. What I'm doing now is I'm getting really popular YouTube videos, feeding them through into ChatGPT, and I'm like, what are the story structures that I use in this video? And it was amazing.
Yeah,
it's like, this is a problem solution story structure. It starts with the problem up front with this, and then it transitions into the solution and da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, interesting. It might not be 100% accurate, but it just gives it a different lens to look at it, the content, instead of summarizing. You can kind of infer that it's a problem solution, but it's just being more targeted, I guess, with my research, instead of just like, I've got all these transcripts of all these YouTube videos and I've got the summary of the YouTube videos, but like, how can I use that to make my own videos? And it's just the same as using reference for art, right? This is a kind of art form. So I'm just using the same principles as I would if I'm trying to learn someone's style with drawing. So I'm just trying to just immerse myself with as much content that I like to consume as possible. And then put it through my lens. Because then there's going to be different content types. Like I did a little story this morning letting people know that I'm working on this. And then I put like a little question box to say, for those YouTubers out there, I'd love to know any advice that you have. Knowing full well that there's probably no greater. I said that even in the thing. My hunch is that I've just got to do it and iterate as I go. I know this, right? But if you got any advice, I would love it. knowing that probably no one's going to say anything because there's nothing that anyone can say because I don't have any videos up there. So they're just going to be like, stay positive, keep consistent. You know what I mean? It's just like the general shit.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. Some people that weren't YouTubers, but they gave me insights into what they liked about my stuff and videos that they resonate with as well. And I've already found someone that I hadn't heard of before. Apparently I subscribed to him, but they weren't sort of top of mind. But he was just sort of talking over time lapses, right, about concepts and ideas outside of the technical side of things. So then that got me into thinking, okay, there's going to be different types of content that I'm going to do. As I said, I never want to just be like a how-to channel, right, or a how-to content creator. I want to sort of look at it holistically. So it's like, all right, now I've got categories of content that I can do. I can do the more story things. I can do the more education, how-to, and then I can do the more like philosophical, how I'm thinking about certain things, the struggles that I'm going through, experience that I've had. Then I can do like interviews with just me and another artist, sketching, and us having a conversation. You know what I mean? So that even just that little comment opened up a whole idea where I was so narrow focused on this one video. It's like, cool. Now I've got ideas moving forward. So I'm excited about it. I love all this nerdy shit, but I think I'm creeping into a little bit of the premature mode of, you know.
Well, do you have enough? Do you feel like you have enough information to go forward?
Yeah. So I've written the script, and it's and I've made I want to put this up on my blog as well. So this is a whole fantastic thing about having a blog is I want to share all my resources and all my notes on this very beginning stage of what I'm thinking about. Here's my first script. Here's the script of this video. Here's the script of this video based on XYZ podcast that I listen to that has this. And I'll have like a script template that I use. And on each script template, again, I'm saying it out loud and I'm just like, you just post the fucking video. You know what I mean? Just shoot the video, post it. But on the template, I've got all the resources and all the key points. Like, how do I want the viewer to feel? How are they feeling before? And how do I want them to feel after? What transition are they going to have after this? And I think having those little notes and like show, don't tell, talk less, show more, right, is a good thing. And then I asked ChatGPT, where did that come from? And it's like, oh, this has been a storytelling thing for centuries. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's based in something real. All right. Now I feel confident in that. You know what I mean? So yeah, so now I'm going to document the process of that. And then that can be another YouTube thing as well. So it can get pretty meta and like diversify the audience. So I'm not just, and the how-to art guy, I'm like, cool, I'm Ben. I like his shit. You know what I mean? Just like he likes doing art. I like his art, but also I'm trying to do content as well and blah, blah, blah. And then mix this in, like the Make Now Think Later into the channel as well. And our conversations and there'll be clips of the YouTube videos like this and the podcast splicing into my content as well. It'll be sponsored by Make Now Think Later. You know what I mean? It'll be sponsored by any products that we come out with. So yeah, it's also from a business side of things, a fantastic acquisition channel. I'm hoping, right? Or from what I've gathered from talking to other YouTubers versus like social, like Instagram, that they're still fantastic acquisition channels, but they're different. Instagram, TikTok, shorts and all that sort of stuff, they're very fleeting. They can kick off, they can get you reach, but you've got to consistently keep posting out content where if I'm creating evergreen content, it's going to be on there for ages and continue to get views. But anyway, there's my bet. I've been waiting to just say.
Well, you've been deep in the weeds for however many weeks, right? And
that's it.
It's
really just this last week or two. That I've just decided. Like it's just like I've said in past. I've decided now it's happening. So I'm excited because it's like, yep, there's going to be something out there, and it's going to flop. I guarantee it's going to flop. You know what I mean? Might get a few views. You know what I mean? But it's like, cool. I've broken that seal. I've done it. Next one. Next one. You know. So
there's something about posting. Like immediately posting that generates momentum. I'm not sure what it is, but like when you make something or put something out there, you want to immediately put more stuff out there.
Yeah.
And it's a very temporary feeling, I feel.
It is. You've almost got to capture that and be like, that's why I almost want to have a, which I've started to do, to have a kind of an inbox of ideas just forever. Always on my phone, just putting ideas down. So when I have that feeling, I can be like, okay, Where's those ideas? Cool. Let's take that. Let's run with it. Where can that go? Cool. Now they got that next video in the pipeline. And then I've gone deep into like systematizing it all. So from the practical shooting it, and because I want to start, I talked to you earlier about batching tasks, because I'm not struggling, but as I'm wanting to create more content, I'm at a capacity if I'm just doing it every day.
Yeah.
So I really want to figure out how I can batch, make now, think later stuff, batch my stuff into, say, script writing. Like Mondays might be a live stream that I do on YouTube and script writing. Tuesdays, figuring out the shot list. So I've created like a Notion database with the script, and in each section there's a shot list. So for example, one part of the video will just be a talking head. Another part of the video, I'm going to do an animation overlaying this particular idea. And that's going to speed up the editing process instead of me trying to figure it out as I go, which I'll have to do anyway. But at least I can sit down and maybe draft out an edit for like 3 videos in a day, just the B-roll. Not me, I haven't recorded anything yet, but it's all the animations, the B-roll, the extra stuff that goes over the top of it. For Make Now Think Later, for my stuff, for the YouTube, even shorts and reels and that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking more and more about systematizing things and batching like tasks, as the as my idol Tim Ferriss has said many a time.
Yes, I think that's very useful because it avoids context switching, which is like one of the big things that, even with like programming, you know, if you change from, let's say, like front end to back end or different programming language, you can do it, but it just takes that little bit of extra time for your mind to stop thinking about things in that certain way. And if you can batch things together, then you don't have to make that switch. You can just streamline it.
And hopefully I can pump out 2 to 3x more 2 to 3 times more content than I would otherwise, just because the energy is the bottleneck for me. And then once I get that off the ground, hopefully that's generating me more revenue, so then I can hire someone to help me. That's like the next step. Sugar Beats, welcome. Sorry, I just saw Sugar Beats in there. She's like a ride or die. I love it. She's always here. Fantastic. But anyway, so we'll answer the questions afterwards. Sorry, I didn't mean to get. We're doing this live as well for the listeners. Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry, I got this.
Oh, shit, sorry.
No, cutting's easy. One button.
But that's me so far. We can sort of circle back to that. But for yourself, what have you been working on since we last talked?
I mean, I've been working on startup stuff, I guess, or business stuff. You know, getting back to programming and making apps. Because I guess what I've talked about on this podcast is like trying to figure out what I want to do. Like, you know, there was a possibility of going into like consulting, freelancing, which I didn't like. There's an opportunity to do that, but it didn't feel right to me. And then there's the content creation stuff, which I still want to do. That's still there. But this is like, I spend so much time thinking about frameworks. I spend so much time thinking about like making things elegant in like programming ways, and like I might as well just do it, you know? And then, so, because it feels like I'm moving forward. And then my plan is to use some of the learnings I get from that as content, you know?
Beautiful.
Because like this is something that I'm truly interested in. You know, I can do this basically from the time I wake up to the time I should already be asleep. And I can do that like day in, day out pretty easily.
Hell yeah, man.
And I want to like, but there is a trap. Like one thing I'm always worried about with doing the startup stuff is that it might not work out, you know? You try your hardest, but people don't like the product, or the market changes in some way, or, you know, whatever random asteroid hits your house or something.
Well, then it doesn't matter at all. So
exactly right. So there's like, and it's typically a big time investment. So one of the things I want to do to kind of de-risk that is to, build the content stuff on the side. Like the Make Now Think Later, like the Substack, and like the other thing I'm doing, which I haven't started yet, which would be like sharing tips or things that I've learned about, you know, programming in this way that I'm programming. And then I guess another thing is that like, I haven't really examined this one too much, but this is another thought that I have. It's just like, because it's a booking, right? You know, I'm working on Keep On, which is our thing.
Yeah.
Plus the others.
Yeah.
But it's really us, or mainly me right now that's working on it.
Yep.
And it's a booking payments app for like, typically a lot of the clientele that we have are like personal trainers and things like that, or people that run classes in certain ways. And it's like, do I really want to spend my like the next like whatever year or like this a huge amount of effort like on this problem, which I don't really feel is like a big problem, you know, in the grander scheme of things. It can measurably improve people's lives.
Yeah.
But it's like not the biggest problem, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
It's like there's that kind of like doubt.
Yep.
But like, I don't know, maybe I'm just maybe it's like too idealistic to feel like you have to be like moving the world forward in a certain way, or feel like you're like helping the right people. Not that these people aren't right to be helped or whatever, but like,
yeah,
I'm not sure.
It's a tricky one. The thing that what I'm hearing and what I'm loving is that even when you messaged me the other day, I was like, hey, what have you been up to? I just been programming and I'm loving it. Or whatever, something akin to that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck yeah, he's doing it. Because I mean, for me, I'll draw whether the camera's on or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's a great start with the content side of things, and folding this into, say, because I feel like we got really amped about, or I still am, about software around the creator space. There's no reason why we can't fold what we've learned from Keep On, or the frameworks that you're building with like the React Native stuff and that kind of thing into, cool, now we can work on something that can be native across all platforms and get it out fast and have those updates that you're talking about without worrying about the app store and this a little bit inside baseball. But yeah, so that's the exciting part. Like, but I get that feeling of like, because I think about that myself, like I'm just fucking pushing pixels around.
Yeah.
On the fucking screen, like in the scheme of things. I mean, I feel good doing it, so I'm like, fuck it. But at the same time, it's like, I hope that other people are getting something out of it. And I've got some feedback on that, right? That people are liking and they're getting, I get DMs daily of people. So I'm like, cool. All right. That's sort of quietened that voice down a little bit. Is like, is this even doing anything, you know? But thinking too much about that, doesn't like it.
You're probably right.
It is. I don't know. At least for me, it doesn't help anything. Because what else are you going to be doing? Doing it for someone else? I'd rather be doing something like working on a lesser problem, or like a lesser like world-changing problem for myself, rather than like a huge problem working for someone else.
Yeah, I
personally.
Yeah.
Something that I have complete control over, and that you can spin this out. Like we could spin Keep On up into anything that we want, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's kind of where I've settled, I think, because I do have that like little thought in my head that reoccurs every now and then. But one, I feel good when I'm programming it. And I feel like I'm learning. I feel like I'm learning the right ways to do certain things, or learning new things still.
And that's that adherence level.
Yeah, exactly.
That we've been talking about, right?
Yeah. So I guess a refresher on that is like copied from the Muscle and Strength Pyramids by Eric Helms and 3D MJ guys. There's like a pyramid for when you're trying to do stuff.
Illuminati.
Illuminati pyramid. And for muscle strength and training, you know, the baseline is adherence. Whatever program you're trying to do to, you know, live healthier or to get stronger, it doesn't matter what program you do if you can't stick to it.
Yep.
You know, and that's the most important thing. And definitely with what I'm doing now, like I said before, I can do this day in, day out. You know, it's hard for me to sleep when I'm programming, because I just want to stay up and stay up and program, right? Especially when I'm programming on something that's my stuff, or where I feel like I can have a big impact. You know, if it was for someone else, I don't think I would feel that way.
No.
I feel more of a chore.
Yep.
But in this way, it does feel like it's something I can adhere to. And then the other, like the next step up on the pyramid, and I won't go too far into the pyramid. The next step up is like volume, intensity, and frequency. You know, if you're trying to improve at anything or get better at anything, you kind of need to put the reps in, or the volume. That's the main thing. And with this, I can pump out, you know, there's volume, right? I can program a lot. Like just like when you're drawing, you enjoy it, so you can get the volume in, so you can improve, you know, and you still have that curiosity to keep learning.
Yep.
You know, and that's something that's driving what I'm doing is that curiosity is still there. So I'm like very curious. Oh, what if I do this? Oh, that doesn't quite work. Oh, what if I try this? Oh, that works well. So it's like, that's where it feels more right to me. Cause like the innate curiosity is there.
Yep.
Like when I was contemplating the consulting thing, it was more about like,
how do I get out of this as fast as possible?
How do I take a minimum contract as possible so I can go back to doing what I want to do?
Yeah.
And how do I like, you know, how do I spin this into a way so that it works for me long term, so I can fulfill that curiosity? Is it going to fulfill that curiosity? So that's one of the big things, I think. And yeah, to de-risk it for, like I said before, to de-risk it for myself, I want to make content of it. So if it doesn't work, at least I can teach others about the things that I've learnt through the process, whether it's about the business side of it, whether it's about the programming side of it, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But at least there is some output, but that is not just for myself, but for others.
And there's momentum there as well from the product side of things. We've got users. We've got customers that are sort of running their full business through the software, you know what I mean? So it's like, cool, there's something to iterate there. It's not starting completely from scratch. You know, there's like, there is momentum there, which is, I'm excited. I'm excited, man, because it just makes sense. All the puzzle pieces kind of fit into place.
Yeah.
You're doing it regardless. Yeah. It's stuff that you can turn into content. You showed me something that you figured out or that you had to try and figure out that you could then teach others.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things you got to figure out.
And those little things are the things like, oh, you just need one of those little things on a reel, on a tweet storm. Poof, Francis is the next fucking whoever, you know what I mean? Like it's...
and I was thinking about, you know, like, I don't think I've ever been proud of the product. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. That's like, I've always had, whenever someone's like, oh, what app are you working on? I'm like, it's this app, but it's not there yet.
It's like, very hesitant.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, yeah, still working on it. Work in progress. That's exactly, like the equivalent of if I've done a drawing and I'm just like, it's just like, oh, it was just a little idea. It's just a sketch. It's just an experiment. It's it's whatever. Yeah.
Exactly right. I was even like, I mentioned to someone, you know, the other day who hadn't heard about it. And I said, like, and I was talking to them about it, and they were like, oh, so when does it launch? Because I was like, I guess in my in how unenthusiastic I sounded about it, it was like, it didn't even sound like it launched yet.
Yeah.
You know? Because like, you know, usually, oh yeah, I have it, it's out, you know, you can get it. But I'm like, yeah, it's out a bit, you know, it's not nothing special yet. But, so that's a big thing also, is like, you know, I want to make something that I feel good about, that I feel like I can stand behind and say, like, you know, I put some care into this, you know, it's good for that reason. Please enjoy. You know? Yeah. And that's kind of the feeling that I want to get. So I think that's part of what's keeping me motivated and keeping me adhering to it, is that there is that possibility of that appreciation, or that, you know, product that I'm actually very happy with coming out the other end. Yep. And I feel like I have all the know-how to do it, you know, so that should be no problem. But that's exciting, I think. Yeah. It'll be fun.
Hell yeah. And that's even like with any courses or stuff, like even my tutorial that I came out with, I'm bloody proud of that. Yeah. It's not like, I still have a little bit of a trouble. Like there's a little bit of like, I want to make it better, but it's like, well, that's the next product. You know what I mean? I'm always just like art or anything that you do, you look back at like 6 months from when you first did it and you're like, oh, I've learned so much since then. So it's never going to be finished, but it's to a point when you release the thing that you're proud and you can promote it. And that's when marketing is easy, because you're almost like, yeah, check it out. Like I'm really, really happy with it. Right. And it helped me. My younger self would have loved this. Yeah. I think you'll like it as well. Yeah. If I was running the business through this app, it would be a no-brainer.
Exactly right. It's like dog fooding the product.
Yeah. Exactly right. And I mean, I want to run content stuff through Keepon as well. Like I want to figure out how it can work through my stuff. Well, that might be a separate product or anything, but anything that we put out, I think together, we've got a very high high bar for quality, which is also at a detriment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about imposter syndrome, perfectionism before, those are things you have to kind of overcome
Yeah.
a little bit because you want to at least actually get something out there.
Yep.
But it is, I guess it's the two sides of the coin, right? It makes you want to really put something quality out there, but it also, it takes you a bit longer to get it out there in the first place.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're doing your programming, you're loving it, working on the product. So from the product standpoint, you're basically turning it into into a format where it's going to be easy to work on as well, or like a lot easier to work on, which we were talking about earlier. There's like the developer experience, and I'm finding that from myself with, say, editing.
Yeah.
And like these new tools that are coming out, like Descript, like Premiere Pro started to get some new features in there. And it's like the tools that you use can really either put a barrier in front of you actually doing the thing, or pull you to actually want to like go and make a great video with this piece of software, or you know what I mean? Like it's an interesting parallel, but yeah, the developer experience is fucking everything.
Probably underrated, I think.
Yep.
Very underrated. Like Descript is a good example, and then they should be sponsoring this podcast.
I know,
but they're not sponsoring this podcast.
Someone actually asked for like a sponsored link from me. I've yet to get that sorted out, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's a cool, that's a cool little program and I love the marketing that they put into it. That's a really good example of marketing because you can see from the videos, it shows you, it's a very visual way of showing what the product does.
Yeah.
And as soon as you see that video, you're like, oh,
yeah.
Now you're like immediately sold on the problem and the solution to it, which I think is quite cool.
It's interesting because I've talked to a lot of people about it through like Zooms and stuff.
Yeah.
And they've heard about it. If they've heard about it, they're like, oh, it just does captions. No, wrong. And then I show them like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like it does, like it's interesting how people can perceive something that you put out from a product standpoint. And if they hear about it through someone else, so it's almost like when you do your marketing, you almost have to get to the people that have got to tell their friends, be very clear to them, so then they explain it.
Right.
In a way, like they spread the word in a good way, or like in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the best kind of marketing, isn't it? Like where the people who have bought from you do the marketing for you.
Yeah.
That's happening in your tutorial, right?
I find it fascinating that people are like, oh, this and this and this, like they love it. It's just even like if I mention it in chat or on lives sometimes, without a doubt, there's almost someone who's like, yep, well worth the money and then some. I'm just like, oh, warms my heart because it's something that I'm proud of. So yeah, that's exciting, man, that you sort of getting the bug back. And I think there's something to be said about taking a break as well from like larger projects, because it was something that I think both of us were pretty burnt out with there for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, you'd been working on it for
7
years.
Yeah.
7-8 years. I was working on it for like 3.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah.
Like it's and with like not no traction, but it's just like it was just slow.
It was like there was a period there where it was growth.
Yeah.
And that was very motivating.
Yeah.
And then it stopped.
Yeah. Because of it was right before the old Pandy.
Yep.
And then that just fucking shat all over everything. And then it was just like hard going. Because I mean, at that point, it was all up in the air of what's open, what's not. And specifically for, say, like personal trainers that were using the product, they're the first one to go because it's like, it's social distancing and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So it's, but yeah, I think there's something to be said coming back with something, back to something with fresh eyes.
Yeah, fresh eyes definitely helped, I think.
And even the technology is
they
gotten better.
Yeah, and the developer experience improved more.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the big things about, like I said, Descript, but even like things like Gumroad and Substack, they make it easier for you to create, which is, they're improving the creator experience, I guess. And Yeah, that's, Gumroad has kind of increased their fees a little bit recently, but like that's still like one of their main selling points, right? They're trying to make it easier for you to make a living doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're still kind of the default, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I've been looking at course platforms because Gumroad is not really a course platform.
Yeah.
It's like a product, like once off sale. So it's not like not once off sale, but it's different. It doesn't have like modules, and it doesn't have like
Gated content.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, right? So I've been looking at it, and fuck, some of these prices on some of these platforms just to get started, you're looking at 150, $200 a month to kick it off.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, it better work. You know what I mean? Like, and then that gets into question, like, what's the price point that you got to put the sort of info product or the course at? Like, I'm confident I could cover that cost from how the Gumroad's gone, but even so, it's still there's like still apprehension there. And then I'm like, could I make this myself somehow? Like, is there that starts creeping in, and I'm like, no, that's just another however many months trying to do that. And I mean, that's where I get excited about building products around the creator space, because there's a lot of problems that need to be solved in this space.
I think there's something like you're talking about pricing, and that's something I've been thinking about recently, especially with a lot of these infrastructure tools for developers. Like there's one called Vercel, which is a way to kind of deploy your app or deploy your website. And what I like about their pricing is that it's always free to start. So when you're testing, it's not free trial, but it's free to start, or free for like non-commercial. Yeah. So you're able to kind of learn the platform, play with it on your side projects. And then when you're ready, like, what this will become, I'm going to deploy on Vercel. Yeah. Not sponsored. But like, because the developer experience is so good, and I've been using it for hobby projects, I will use this one for the like pro version or whatever they call it. So it's a way, like, I like that it kind of like scales with you. And then even when your pro thing turns into like, let's say it turns into multi-million, whatever, I'm not saying that it will, but like, and into enterprise level, then it also grows with that kind of level, right? And then you have another tier for that. Yeah. So there's I'm really interested in these kind of like bringing these more kind of scale with you kind of pricing models to forefront. I guess Gumroad kind of does that, like, because I guess it's like,
because there's no upfront cost.
Yeah.
All right.
Like Gumroad is like, I feel like that's good for basically until you can start hiring people, probably. Like then you probably want to move off, because it's like the cost is just, you might as well hire someone with how much you're paying Gumroad. Yeah. Like so it's like at the higher, maybe at the like highest end, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. But like, some way to like, scale with you. That's something. It's a little off topic, but it's something I've been thinking about recently.
No, there's no off topic here. This is behind the scenes talking about all this stuff. And I think from a course side of things as well, like info product. Yeah. Is there something?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Like that,
because this makes a lot of sense for software, but for courses and one-off products, I'm not sure what the analogy is.
I'd like to experiment with things like this because, I mean, there's all these types of like pricing things you could do. Like I did it with Gumroad and it worked. Like the 3-tier pricing. You've got the magic middle pricing, right? So this is way inside baseball, but you've got the lowest price of the tier, and then you've got the highest price, and you've got the magic middle. So how close you put that middle pricing to the lowest price or the highest price depends on how much of that you're going to sell, right? If you put it closer to the middle, and this is all depending on your offering as well. So you got to be giving out value, right? The closer that you put the middle pricing to the lowest pricing, the more middle that you're going to sell. The closer that you put the middle to the highest pricing, the higher price is going to sell more. And that's going to be dependent on what you put in the middle. All right. So I've got for my third tier, like my highest tier, I've got everything. It's like the full kit. You get the 3D models, you get the 8-hour walkthrough, you get the 40-page PDF, you get all the files and everything. All right. And there's only like a $10 difference between the highest price and the middle price, but the middle price, you only get the PDF and the files. So it's kind of like a no-brainer to be like, I'll just get the full thing because that gives me all the value, right? But then I can go the opposite way with that. So there's all these types of things that you can think about with pricing, but I'm thinking more so from the experience level when I get into like courses and that kind of thing. Is there like a lock off, like you have to complete this module, this free module to get you up to speed with my way of thinking to then do the full course. So then you'll get the value out of it, right? So you can test out my way of thinking, teaching, do a couple of projects, and then you want to dive deep. You want to figure out everything that I'm thinking about. You get all of my notes. You get everything on all these topics with lighting, stylization, and you get like 100 plus. What, you know what I mean? Then it's like, cool. You're already in my ecosystem. Take it further. You take it as far as you want to do, and then that's where the tiers might come in. Just be like the casual artist, or you want to expedite the process. Then that might equal a meeting with me every month or something. Although I do want to reduce the amount of me time compared to how much I make. Like I want to detach my time to my income as much as I possibly can. But that could be like the big tier. And the middle tier is like, cool, you get access to all the pre-recorded courses, videos, and you get all the critiques that I've done for past year. I think there's interesting ways to do it where it's actually beneficial. It's not just like a money grab. It's like, cool, I want you to get the most value out of this because it's both in your best interest to get the most value and in my best interest because then you're going to get better and you're going to tell other people that that's where I got better. Yeah. So that was like I don't know. It could be a complete fucking like, no, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, I guess it's like, yeah, the first one would be like almost like hobby kind of level. Like you got your artists they haven't made a career yet, they're still learning, and then you got like the other tiers, I guess, are like almost aspirational. Like they're there when that person is ready to be that. And then like last tier might be something like selling to an educational institution or something like that.
Yeah, enterprise model.
Yeah.
So it's like, cool. Then it's like you can let you like license my content or I don't know. It's interesting because that'll be a really fun experiment to run because I would lose out. Say if I had like a $200 course, right? That'd be chock-a-block with as much value. You basically have all of my information on a particular topic or whatever the course is about, right? Is there a world where, that's tiered, but it's actually locked, and I've got like, and there's got to be some sort of assessment to get to the next level. I don't like the sound of that because that sounds more traditional education.
Like assessment is the right way to do it,
but it almost gives it exclusivity in that point as well. Yeah, like if you're playing off the exclusivity side of things, it's like, I got into. You know what I mean?
Now you're a university.
Yeah, but then I don't want to be that. But just as a thought experiment, it's an interesting model.
Yeah, there's so many models. Like, I guess with the licensing one, that always brings me back to things like software info products, where they're selling like ebooks or things or like frameworks or whatever, collections of like components or whatever. And they usually have, like an individual tier for you, and then they have like a team tier. If you're buying it, if you're like a Google or some other startup that has money and they would buy it for your team, then you have a way to give each of them a license. And it's like giving, like you want to, I guess you want to do it in a way which gives people who have the capacity to pay more and also who want to pay you more a way to pay you more.
Yeah, that's Adam Wathan.
Yeah.
Thing.
Did I steal that from him?
You did, but he probably stole it from someone else because that's exactly what he talked about on his podcast about the enterprise model. Yeah. It's like some people want to pay you more. Yeah. Give them the opportunity to, right? And for the people that can't, you're always going to have the people that can't afford it or whatever, but you can give them enough to give them as much value as you can. But there's...
Yeah, I guess how do you do that in a course?
Well, it's interesting. Like the workshops that I've done for like game companies, I'd started to ask a lot of like questions, like, what other education things are you using? They actually have internal like budgets and resources for their art teams.
That's such a good point because often with those kinds of things, they have to use it or they lose it.
Yeah.
So like if you're just like, you know, they're wanting to find things to spend money on to train the artists.
Exactly. So
That's
they got a budget, and at the end of the whatever financial year, they're just like, well, we spent nothing on development of our team. Oh shit, now we got to
yeah, and if they don't spend it, then they'll be like, oh, you guys don't need it, we're going to reduce your budget. And so they're always going to want to spend it.
Yeah, exactly right. So there's that but I'm even starting to think about physical products as well. Like I've not taken steps with this yet, but as I'm getting into like 3D sculpting and that kind of thing, I'd really, really love to come out with my own like line of, you know, those like vinyl toys. There's like really high end sort of like art, like art toys, I think they're called, right? But I want them to be like educational tools, but also look cool as shit for like stylized art. You know what I mean? And it's like my stamp on it. It's like, this is something I'd actually use, whether it's like a stylized anatomy, like bust, small, medium, large sort of thing. My own version of like the stylized head, male, female, you know what I mean? Like the skull in different, like maybe detachable eventually, like, you know what I mean? Like I want to explore that physical side of things, which is going to be a fucking nightmare, but that's going to come after some courses and some revenue coming in. But I think that'll be like really, really, really fun.
Yeah.
Like, because it's physical, it's like, cool, that's like a thing, and that could be part of, all right, cool, now that's an upsell in the online stuff that I'm selling, the info product stuff. It's like, yeah, you get, I'll ship you you get the highest tier, you get this as well, which is going to help with and then I just want to make cool shit as well. It's just like not for anything, it just looks cool.
Well, yeah, I guess it's a good way to kind of, for the early adopters and for the people who are able to spend that kind of money and want the extra 2% or whatever gain. Yeah. You know, for them to give you that money.
Yeah.
It's that's like, it. Kind of reminds me of what Apple does, you know, with their new products, they're able to price them super high.
Yeah.
You know, and then, the people with money will pay.
Yeah.
Because they're the early adopters.
Yep. That's exactly right. And it's such a, there's so many different ways you could cut this up. You know what I mean? I think it's all again to do with experimentation and figuring out what. But at the end of the day, whatever I put out and whatever you put out, whatever we put out, it's got to be fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, know that people, anything you get from us, it's got, we put our stamp on it and we hold ourselves in pretty high, not high regard, you know what I'm talking about, at a high standard.
Yeah. For ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but I really like the idea of the physical stuff.
I can see it, yeah.
Because then the step before that is like, cool, all right, if you got a 3D printer, here are the files if you want them as well. You do it yourself, you paint them up. Then I can do like a whole, going back to YouTube. So this is it. It's the content game, babe. Everything is content. Then I go and I document the whole process of creating this physical product. What does it look like? And then that's the marketing for the physical product and how I use it when I draw and do all that sort of stuff. Like, it's such a nice cyclical thing. And even with yourself, like as you're doing this, the programming, you're sharing what you're doing. It's like showing how the sausage is made, and it's like, here, now you can buy the sausage.
Well, like,
there's good ingredients in there.
Going back to the physical products point, like, and the 3D printing, that's a cool way to kind of separate, you know, the tiers. You know, you have the 3D printing files. You can, you know, pay $10 or whatever for the files.
Yeah.
Or you can get like the approved Ben Eblen printed properly.
Like, I've gone to fucking China and gotten all the manufacturing, and I paid a shit ton of money to get it all like
exactly right.
Mickey Mouse. You
and
know,
they're like they might cost a bit of money, but they're
I've already looked at it. It's cost a fuck ton of money.
But they're the approved ones, right? So you can get the hobby one, or you can get the mint one. They both functionally do the same thing. Yeah. But it's just,
there's something to physical stuff, I think, as well. Even more so as we're going more and more into the online space and things being more online. I think there's going to be a premium on physical things to have in your space as well, because people are going to be working more so in their own space. They want to have their own, like,
you need that cool stuff on the Zoom backgrounds, right? Like the book, it's like the art bookshelf equivalent.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because I was actually talking to a book publisher the other day, and I was saying there is something to, like, at least from the art side of things, like not a prestige, but it's like, I've got the book, I've got the physical thing, Like it's an interesting, and I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah.
That's always going to be sort of the way to go. It's like from a physical standpoint, I wonder what you could do. You could come out with like, I don't know, like you remember like Silicon Valley, like the wrist, like a strap or something, so you don't get carpal tunnel when you're doing all your programming.
You could get those like custom keyboard. Have you seen? I think it was Stack Overflow that made like the Control C, Control V custom keyboard, like one click.
Yeah,
and that kind of stuff's pretty cool.
That's just cool. Like, is it practical? Yeah, kind of. But it's just like a fun thing, like within your community as well. Like even because I always wear a hat. That's something that comes up all the time in streams, you know, like do my own, that kind of thing. But there's just, as you start to build an audience, and this is why I'm fucking, just the opportunity is, there's no limit to it. Not just from a business standpoint, but just meeting these people on like lives or meeting these people like on chat and just having them. It's just fucking fun, man. Like I'm starting to get up in the mornings and like be excited. It sounds sad, but I haven't had that in quite a long time.
I mean, I started getting that recently too. Like with the programming stuff. Like, it's a feeling I miss.
Yeah, I think that's where when you're going to sleep and it's kind of a drag, you're like fuck her up, but then you just want to get to sleep so then you can wake up the next day.
Yeah,
to like start and like figure out things. It's something. It is a real different feeling to like open your alarm goes off and you're like. All right, let's go.
All right, time to make some content.
Yeah, that's it.
Time to make a reel.
Yeah, and that's why I don't understand. Like, and it's people like what they like, right? But that's why I don't understand a lot of the time where there's complaining about, oh, now I've got to do reels. It's like get excited about it. It's fucking fun.
It's a lot easier to get excited about it if it's your own stuff, I think.
Yeah, exactly right, man.
Yeah,
exactly right. But yeah,
that's cool. I think that's. We've been talking for a while now, I think.
Yeah, we're at like the 50-minute mark. It's not
short, like sharp. 15 minutes.
Hey?
Felt like 15 minutes.
It's gone bloody fast. Yeah.
It's really fast. What have we talked about?
We've gone through my YouTube deep dive, procrastination, on the edge of procrastination. But so that'll be, my goal is to get it out by the end of this week or beginning of next week. So that's going to be interesting. And then we'll come back with the next podcast and, there we go. Before the next podcast, I'd like to have the video out and what I learned.
So you can plug it.
Plug it, whatever. But even just like what I've learned from the whole process. Because I've finished the script. Now I'm going through the shot list and doing the animations and things like that.
That'd be cool. It's like it's one of those things where you've like, you know exactly what you need to do. Yeah. You just got to do it.
It's very programmatic. It gives me that same feeling of just getting all my ducks in a row with programming. Yeah. Here it's just like, okay, now I'll go that. It's very systematic. Yeah. Like And if I can then get that, then it's like, cool. Then I can start hiring people eventually and then plug them into that system that I've made and then evolve that system rather than just be like, oh, I need to make a video. Shit, go do it. It's like, okay, cool. This is the idea. This is the process that I've gone through the last 500 videos that I've already made. These ones perform the best. This is what we're basing things on, blah, blah, blah. So I think there's something to be said about getting analytical with some of this stuff. Yeah. Not too early. I think I've cut my teeth on Instagram and content in general so far. I think I've kind of not given myself the right, but I'm giving myself some leeway to get more analytical with it. I think you kind of like, you need to get analytical in some way. Like you need to be interested enough to want to get analytical about it. But you can't let that get in the way of you doing the thing. Putting the thing out.
Because there's definitely a balance, right?
Yeah.
But like if you're thinking about getting analytical or something, it's good sign because it means you're curious about it.
Yeah. And it's even what like Mr. Beast said. He's like, look, dude, your first 100 videos aren't going to get any views, right? Yeah. That is, they may, but they might not. And
yours will.
I hope so. That would be lovely, but I'm just no expectations, But I'm fortunate that I've got a little bit of a following to sort of kick it off. But he's like, look, do the first video and then just change one thing. Maybe it's the thumbnail and title. Maybe it's the editing. Maybe it's the jokes. Maybe it's the camera presence. Maybe it's the inflection, right? And then each video you try a different thing. You do another thing. Like this video right now, I'm going to be looking back at it in a year's time and be like, oh, I could have done this, and this. But I didn't know that at this point. So,
and if keeping it there as a good document of your progress,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And I'm going to be documenting that through my blog, the whole process. So that's what before this, I was trying to figure out the code to sort of rip all my notes to then put into the blog post. So yeah, talked about that.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Talked about my stuff a bit and finding
the love of programming.
Yeah, finding the love of programming, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Talked about pricing, different kind of ways to price certain things, and finding a way to maybe like get value, but without extracting value or like having things be a money grab,
Yeah, I think looking at it objectively and how you would react.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you were going to purchase something from yourself or someone else that you want, and how would you, like, how do you feel about that? Is it like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Or is it like,
a good
that's
sign.
a bit like, because I always have this thing in the back of my head. I don't want to feel slimy. With the like sales and that kind of stuff. I just don't like it. What is it? I can't remember who said it, but like, it's like sales is like shitty marketing. I don't know about that, but it's like,
well, that's that like Naval quote, isn't it? Like essentially,
I think, it's like you don't need marketing if you got a great product or something like that.
You don't need.
There's the truth lies somewhere in between.
You need a way to get your stuff out there.
Exactly,
right? No
right.
matter what.
Yeah. Exactly. And from the YouTube perspective, it's the thumbnail and the title is kind of the mini marketing, the mini sale that you've got to make to get the click.
Yeah.
And it's, But yeah, well, I mean, we could go deeper at like, we could go in each of these topics, we can go so deep, like the pricing, but yeah, we've just got to do it ourselves and share what we've accomplished. So, and we're thinking about getting some guests on as well. So your partner Michelle, she's a TikTok would you classify her as a TikToker?
I don't know.
She's put out some TikToks and they've gone off.
Let's just say she's a comic artist.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, a comic artist. Yeah, we'll see if we can get her on, get a different perspective.
Yep. And I've got on the podcast that I was on the other day, it's not out yet, but the Sketchy Van podcast.
Did you get in the van?
No, I didn't know because he's in California. So that was just not practical.
Should have just got in some sketchy van. Just find one too.
We just both sit in a van.
Yeah, exactly.
With like shit internet. Get the real experience. No, so yeah, maybe Christian said he's down.
Yep.
So I'll get some artists from my end of my sort of community that I'm in more so, and just business people and that sort of stuff. So we'll start branching out into that soon, I think.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That's going to be really...
We'll figure out the logistics and we'll get it done.
Yeah, and it could be people just starting out as well.
Yeah.
Like them just popping on, saying their experience and what are you struggling with? What have you found when you've sort of, how you've tried to sort of grow your thing, what's working, what's not, and maybe we can go back and forth. And I think those would be just as valuable as listening to someone that's sort of been there and done that kind of thing.
I think that's super right, because I think, you kind of alluded to this earlier. We kind of talked about the Rick Rubin thing a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? And he was saying something about how, all advice is crap. Doesn't, and that because everyone's context is completely different. And if we have a wide variety of people, even if they're just everyday people or, who have been struggling with this problem, maybe one of them will have a similar way of looking at it as you will.
Yeah.
And be able to connect with you in a certain way. And that might help you move forward. So I think, having a diverse array of people is a good thing, I think.
Yeah. And that's why I think us coming from our experience is the best way to do this kind of thing, because it's like, cool, we're just sharing our experience. It's you take and leave what you want. And that's it. We got some chats.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Let's answer some questions. So Sugar Beats. All right. Actually, we got arts. Some of these. Arts
smell.
Arts Mel. Do you get imposter syndrome? And if so, how do you manage it? I can't seem to turn off the voice in my head that says I can't do this.
Well, I think
tell them to shut the fuck up and just do it.
I think there's two different things there, because I feel like imposter syndrome is kind of a specific thing where it's like you literally feel like the only person in this room that doesn't know it, but you feel like everyone else knows it. You feel like the fraud in the room. Like that, I think.
Yeah, that's a key word. Yeah.
Yeah. The classic example is like in, someone asked this question in like a class in MIT or something like that, right? And then they asked who here feels like they're the only fraud in this room, and everyone else is like, supposed to be here, and everyone put their hand up, pretty much, like, so, like, yeah. And then the other part is like the voice in the head that says that you can't do this. That's like a self-belief thing. I guess unless you're feeling like you can't be as good as anyone else, I'm not sure. But
yeah, I guess like even I'm, as I mentioned with the YouTube stuff, I'm feeling that.
Yeah,
it's like, what am I going to give? Well, what value can I give? So I know that I can.
So do you feel like that's imposter syndrome? Because
I think
do
it's
you feel like a fraud?
It's a yeah.
Yeah.
To some degree, yeah. But like I've mitigated that because everything that I've said, I've never said that this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm only sharing my experience.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah.
That helps a lot. When you're not saying, particularly from the education side of things, you're not saying this is the way to do it. It's just like, this is what I've done. Here it is. No one can argue that. No one in this world can tell you, you didn't, like, that's not how you did it. And be like, I've got the receipts, babe. Here it is, So that, I think there's just that impending doom of someone coming out of the woodwork and saying and calling you out on your bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's that. I think there's a bit of ego wrapped up in it as well.
Yeah.
There's also a bit of procrastination, something that is just like if procrastination was a person, it's a tool that they use to stop you from doing your thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's like a few of those things wrapped up in one.
I can see that, especially if it's like stop you from doing a thing, because if you start to do the thing, you put it out, and then it's a way for you to get judged. Right? Yeah. I feel like a lot of imposter syndrome comes from environments where you feel like you're being judged, like a job environment or like an environment, like a school environment. Yeah. Because you are almost certainly being judged against your peers. It's like an environment that's very zero sum. Yeah. Like for you to win, someone else has to lose. And for you to lose, someone else has to win, right? Yeah. So it's like, if you can, I guess that's part of why reframing it like you have, where it's like, these are my experiences. It's like, that's because there's no competition there.
No, yeah, you're in a competition of one.
Yeah. So
there is no,
I think, so maybe that's a good way of getting out of the imposter syndrome, is like trying to see, are you in a zero-sum kind of situation? Do you feel like
Define
you're being...
zero-sum, just for those that don't understand.
So zero-sum is like, for you to win, like, if you want to go higher, you have to take someone's spot, right? So someone else will go lower. So it's always a situation where no one, like no one is winning. Yep. It's like always the same.
Which is a zero-sum.
Yeah, exactly. So like, you can see that in a school environment where you're being ranked. You know, if you want to get the highest rank, only one person can get the highest rank.
And I think that could be from if you're thinking about social media.
Yeah, that is the a very zero-sum environment.
But I reframing it, because you're seeing numbers all the time. You're seeing follower numbers and this and that.
In that way.
In that way, that can feel like it's zero-sum, but I think it's the opposite. I never look at another content creator and think that it's a competition. Yeah. They're not a competitor. They're a potential collaborator. You know what I mean? And if I think just a step back from the user or the consumer of the content, even as myself, I don't just follow one person, right? If I have to follow someone, I don't have to unfollow someone else. You know what I mean? So there's no zero-sum.
That's a very good point.
There. Yeah. It's all...
it's all like... Because I guess... It's made to seem like a zero-sum when it's really not, right?
Yeah, because you can look at the leaderboard, how many followers in the art space does, and that could be the leaderboard, but it's the wrong metric to look at.
It's not like Instagram has like 10 likes. Like, it's not like every user has like 10 likes and they have to pick who to use.
Yeah, they don't have like a budget.
Yeah, they can just like whoever you
That
want.
would be interesting, man. But yeah, so reframing it in that way. If you're thinking about the social media stuff, that's how I think about it, at least. So that helps quell that, like, if you don't like my shit, don't look at it.
Yeah.
That's that.
I think the other part is accepting that you are kind of learning and you're not like projecting an image of yourself. You're just kind of who you are, like projecting some image that's better than, like, you're trying to like make yourself being perceived as a certain way.
Yeah.
I think that's where
That's a
imposter
big
syndrome.
one. That's huge.
Yeah.
Because that's where I come back to, even with the content and like my reels and shorts and stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to talk like myself, where I'm at this point in time, what I think at this point in time, knowing full well 6 months from now, all these opinions could change.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn new things, right? And then that just takes the pressure off as well. So like, I'm not going to probably like this in 6 months, but I'm going to put it out because it's better than not putting it out.
Yeah.
And come 6 months' time, I'll be at the same position that I am now, worried about, oh, what if? But there's a few angles to look at the imposter syndrome depending on your situation. But yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's and putting stuff out there is some, right? You're literally creating value in the world by putting something out there.
Exactly right.
Most non-zero
Positive
sum. Yeah.
Sugar Beats asks, what is a dream app you would like to make?
I don't know.
Go, Francis.
I don't know what a dream app.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I don't think there's any like specific app I want to make. I just want to be able to understand a problem so well and be able to solve it, and then do it in a way that shows a lot of care and thought.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what industry I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no real dream industry or anything. I just want to make something cool.
Yeah. I want to create an app that after a live stream, it spits out 20 like reels or shorts based on the highest retention moments, all captioned out, all cut already. So then I don't have to do that. That's the app I want to make. That's the dream app.
Time saver.
That's it. All right. You want to read? So what do Terrence?
How small can a good small start be?
That's a good question. As laughably small, in my experience.
Yeah.
Laughably small.
That's the whole Atomic Habits kind of philosophy, right?
That's it. Good book.
Yeah.
So as small as you just doing something, small little baby step towards your goal. It doesn't have to be big at all. And that's how I did it.
Yeah.
Super, super small. Like 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the morning, I just started to draw, right, to get back into the swing of it.
Yeah, I think that's right. Like the Atomic Habits thing is like, if you want to go for a run every morning, just put out your shoes, make a habit of putting out your shoes at night. Yeah. And then that, if you do that, that's a success. Yeah. And anything else is bonus. Yep. But that's the habit you try to keep.
I've got to find this study, but there was a study about like people going to the gym. There was two like groups of people. First group of people, they started like, this is paraphrasing, but the gist of it was the first group of people, they said, go to the gym every week or every day and just go and do the workouts and da-da-da-da. The second group of people, the first week, they got their gym card, swiped it, walked in the door, then walked back out the door. First week. Second week, they walked in, they sat down at a machine, then they walked back out, right? Third week, they went back in, they did 1 rep of their thing and then walked back out. And then slowly but surely, it just felt weird not going, right? Whereas and then it turned out that group adhered, back to adherence, to the gym habit far more than the people that just went ham straight away. And I think both groups of people started at like, they don't go to the gym usually, right? So yeah, start laughably small.
Yeah, it's so small that you can't fail.
Yeah, that's a good one. Have we both known each other? Thank you, Sugar Beats. Looking at the mentioned The Last of Us from a previous stream. Have you both known each other growing up? For the last 3 years, I've grown up a lot. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I guess it was like, what, 3.5 years?
Yeah.
We've known each other?
Yeah, we met basically, Ben was working on Keep On.
Yeah.
And they were running out of money and running out of everything.
Yeah.
And then I was half looking for work. I was looking for something to do. I was always interested in startup stuff.
Yeah.
And then, I had an interview with these guys, hit it off, and here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knew? We'd be doing a podcast. It's sick. No, we've become really, really good friends.
Yeah.
We think very similarly.
Yeah, I agree.
About stuff.
Yep.
And he's helped me a ton with programming, and that's why you got to do a course. Do a course, my friend. You're fantastic about explaining things. Terrence, I would like to get on this problem solving stuff that actually makes sense.
Not sure what context.
Sugar beets, you throwing me off. So this is back when we were talking. So this is back when we were talking about the pricing tiers.
Oh, yeah.
So the application of tier value is good, or even to give each video at a small cost that adds up to the entire course. That could actually help with like piracy as well. Like if it's drip fed, but that's going to happen regardless anyway. So
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it works and it targets a wider audience, but planning and execution needs good testing. Yeah, so that's very like funnel based. I feel like that's a funnel play or like a flywheel sort of play.
Yeah,
you'd have to have a lot of thinking around. Okay, this person's finished this one, then they unlock this one, then they unlock this one. It's very programmatic.
Yeah, I think one of the problems with like giving video, like you have to buy each video, is I think it increases the decision points.
There's a lot of friction there,
and it makes it harder to buy. I think one of the things you have to do as someone that's putting something out there is to make it very easy for someone to buy from you. And if they have to think about, oh wait, I don't want to buy a bad video. How do I know which video is good?
Yeah,
and then they have to start thinking about that.
Yeah, exactly right. Like I don't think I'll do like a video by video unlock. But like even I tried with Gumroad. I took away the option to pay what you want.
Oh yeah.
Because I just tried, because I had someone just ask like, I can't add it in my cart. And the issue he was having was because you had to put a price in.
Yes.
It's just it's such friction. Like it's probably honestly cost me a few grand.
Yeah.
Of just decision fatigue over the last like 4 months of doing that. So I just set out at a price, and that's it. That's just click, boom, done. All right, so there's like that whole user experience of not just the product, but getting into the bloody product is something to consider as well. Shell, you guys are providing pretty good marketing for Descript yourselves. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Descript, our inbox is open. Okay, shout out. We'll put it out into the universe.
Shell is Michelle, by the way. Pretty sure.
Oh, Michelle. Yeah. Welcome.
Hello. Struggling between art and programming because I love it. So Terrence is struggling with art and programming because they love both and are trying to excel in both, but have a job in none. So it's hard to focus on them both. But you love problem solving. It's hard to speak. Yeah. Hard to say. I mean,
so
if you like both.
So can you read that again? So.
Are you trying to pick on one? Pick one of them? Like art. So Terrence is struggling between art and programming, wanting to be great at both, but doesn't have a job in doesn't have a job in either of them, so can't focus on either of them essentially. But yeah,
it's a tricky one. I think you can do most things that you want to do, but probably not all at once.
Yeah,
at least from what I'm gathering, like you build up over time. So maybe you have a focus on one, and it could be like a sliding scale. Like I want both. Well, the way that I did that is I coded up my own blog about art.
Or get into UI design.
Or get exactly.
UX.
Yeah, UI, UX, that's art, a little bit arty-farty, you know what I mean? But the way that I scratched that itch for both of them is creating my blog around art. You could do the same.
What's the opposite of that? Like creating your art around programming?
Well, I was thinking about that remember when we were like before Instagram sort of kicked off and everything, I wanted to illustrate programming concepts.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I wanted to just make really, really visually clear and nice looking programming concepts, like what is a loop, what is a function.
Now I remember. Yeah.
How does, like, that was one of my initial ideas, is like, I wonder if I could do that and sort of build something around that. So I guess I had that idea of trying to meld the worlds somehow. I think it could be an interesting idea just to start a blog or something, all right? Lower barrier to entry, code it up yourself so it scratches that programming itch. But then the content that you put in there is the things that you've learned about art. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think like it's one of those things where you want both. Like, I guess even in the beginning you wanted both, right?
Yeah.
But then one kicked off and you're like, oh, this will do.
Yeah.
So like you just got to find what gives you more traction, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. But I was still programming.
Yeah.
In my free time.
Yeah.
And then now I've spun it into, okay, now this is actually an acquisition channel. I found that I've already got sales through the website that I haven't really promoted it that much at all. And it's sort of creating those the sales page for my Gumroad through, which is a better sales page than the Gumroad page can do.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Gumroad UI, man.
Oh, not talking shit, but yeah, talking shit. It's not. Yeah, so I did I've done my own, and I've got some sales through it. So it's sort of like, it scratches that programming itch and that art itch. So that could be an option for you, Terrence. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, at least that's what I'm doing.
At least you got to get started, you know?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of premature optimization.
Yeah. Oh, that was a lot for me. I was working on the website for way too long. I put all these features into it. I had where you could pin notes and keep them there, copy them to your clipboard and fucking this and that. And then I just ended up scrapping all of that because I needed to get something out there.
Yep.
And then it's just such a stripped back version and the content's the real thing. And then I can build that later.
Yep.
So
if you can build it in a way where you can, or do something in a way where you can build upon it.
Yeah.
You don't have to replace it. I think that's a good way. He also says, it's hard to speak naturally and be myself because my audience is out of country, so I can't speak naturally so my real self, which is what I want to show, because sometimes my accent might not make it clear.
Well, who's saying that that's your audience that you're going to stick with?
Yeah.
Maybe if it's not the people that you want to talk to, you might attract the people, like your people.
Exactly. Yeah.
At least that's what I would think. Like, because that's going to be hard because I put out a reel the other day of like being your personal self and your internet self. There's very minimal gap between my personal and my internet, like now me.
Yeah.
Like in front of the camera. That took a while to get used to, just with like camera presence and audio presence and all that sort of stuff. But I think that's the easiest way to go.
Yeah. I think it's better to be your if you're more comfortable being your natural self, it's better than being an uncomfortable, unnatural self where you think you're better, right? Like,
I think that's all. Sorry, go.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like people can tell when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like people can sense it.
Yep.
So like, you know, the more natural you are, the better. So
yeah, definitely.
Try to lean towards that way.
I'd rather alienate a part of an audience, say if they didn't understand me, and really speak to one section of the audience, then kind of not talk to anyone.
Yeah.
If one audience can like understand me, but it's kind of a little bit like, but that comes down to, I think, maybe a parallel to the developer experience, the whole experience of everything. You might be more motivated to create content because it is you are talking in your own voice, the way that you would actually talk.
Yeah.
It just
it
just cuts down that barrier even more.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, Terrence. A couple of things to think about there.
Yeah.
Again, it's just our suggestions, not right, not wrong.
Just get started.
Yep.
Just
do the damn thing.
Yeah.
Make now and think later, babe.
All right.
Cool. All right.
That's it.
So that's the last questions. Appreciate you all popping in. This is on the new channel.
Yep.
So we want to sort of grow this as we go.
Thanks everyone that's popped in.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We
can do that after.
We'll do that after.
Yeah.
We'll do the intros and everything after. All right.
All right.
Thank you, Terrence. All right. Catch you later, everyone.
See you later. stop the stream here also.